notice a thing or two about what we're trying to build and how we try to portray ourselves and see how we can build our own brand. Today we're going to talk about the customers or the positioning specifically. And positioning is actually something that's the meat and potatoes of building a brand. It's probably one of the most important parts of building a brand because it's how someone else, so the audience, perceives you, and we need to build that strategically and look at the differences between us and the competitors and different audiences we have to see how we fit in their ecosystem and their manner of living. If I say something like Porsche, or if I say Toyota, you probably think about two very distinctive brands. So Porsche is more on the luxury side, which Toyota is more of the normal man's car, so to say. And you'll feel the difference just by mentioning the name. You see a logo, you have a feeling with those two brands, and that's what positioning is, the difference between those two brands. So Porsche's positioned in a certain way and Toyota's positioned in a certain way, and that's strategically built to attract certain customers. So that's what the foundation that we're trying to build right now or today is, to actually specify our positioning in the market. So the brand positioning is part of has three parts, which is the audience, the competitors, and the differences between our competitors and we as a group. And what we are actually trying to find is the gaps in the market. So what are they doing great? What are they doing that is actually a bit disappointing? And where can we provide a role in which we can guide our audience to whatever we want them to guide to? So that's a little bit about positioning. So what we are going to build is a buyer's persona or our avatar, see who we are actually serving and who is our audience. And the more we know about that audience, the better we can connect with them. And so we can strategically place ourselves in certain scenarios so that they notice us, so they can see our services. And so that's why it's important to know each and every step of their customer journey and each and every step of what they do in their lives, so we can plug in ourselves and plug in our brand within their lives. We also need to look at the market players and see what they do well and what they don't do so well. Who are our competitors? Why are they competitors? And what can we learn from them from a positioning of strength? But what can we learn from that maybe doesn't make sense in what they are trying to accomplish, so that we can actually find the gaps and identify the gaps and maybe sit in those gaps and be different. So we start with our customers, which the most successful brands actually put their customers on a pedestal. Well, we do have case studies about brands that don't do it and it works, but it's more of a thought out or strategic marketing approach that they have. But most brands, most of the bigger brands actually are trying to please their customers and not trying to push them away. So we need to tap in what they mostly likely want or need. So what kind of service are they craving? What kind of service are they missing? And what are they looking to do with their lives, or what are they trying to achieve? And we're trying to get insights, and insights are beyond demographic and psychographics. The demographics and psychographics are more like your circumstances, so your salary and where does someone live and how old is someone. But we need to go a little bit deeper than that, and we actually need to tackle their challenges and aspirations and see what those are, because that can be completely different from their demographic or psychographic. So if we look at their challenges and their desires, we can actually come with insights which we can use in our communication. So we need to uncover what makes them tick, what actually motivates or fear them. So what we are trying to build is a fictional avatar based on real life. So we're going to map out everything that they do. So like I said before, we can plug in into their personal goals and into their personal challenges and see if we can be part of that journey to help them achieve a certain goal. So that's about it. So let's start with the first exercise. And the first exercise is about avatar. And we need to categorize the avatar also. So the first thing that we actually need to do is establish a couple of avatars, just fictional names, and see how much influence that specific avatar has on our brand or will have on our brand if we onboard it. So let's start with the first one. How can we categorize the groups of people? Can we define them by a profession? Is there a typical profession that the people that are coming into our community are doing? Or do they have any types of personality traits that we can track as we know of?
I guess I'll start. I know from a content creator space, it's more of, again, the demographic, but looking at crypto as a whole and typically who it attracts as of right now in this early adoption. So you have majority are definitely men. I think it's still like a 90-10 split, roughly, maybe 80-20 growing a little bit, but mostly men and mostly age like probably like 18 to 50. It all depends. As a content creator, you end up attracting a similar audience to your own age and demographic, but been in groups with other content creators and they have similar stats, at least us within the Drip ecosystem. I'm assuming that would extrapolate out into larger crypto and DeFi because it's still a kind of a tech and masculine energy driven space. So there's definitely a bias towards men. It doesn't mean that women are not moving in. It's just heavily saturated. Engineering, math, all that stuff is definitely a male dominated industry.
Yeah.
And then the types of people. So I think that's a range. You have your blue collar kind of trying to rub two nickels together and turn them into $1 million. And you also have people that have come over from like traditional investment style white collar jobs that see this opportunity and they're kind of staking their claim as well. And then, of course, even on top of that, you have the industry leaders that are coming from these other places and like planting their flag at the same time. So it's, in my opinion, I guess it would be kind of similar to the traditional retail demographics, whatever this industry would be without crypto, but just in its infancy stage of building. So it's just whatever that would have been, say, 40, 50 years ago is what we're seeing again.
Okay, let's go with that first, maybe blue collar man, 80 to 15 years technical. What should we call them? Let's say.
You mean like a name? Yeah, Tim works. Technical Tim.
Yeah, technical Tim. Let's see, technical Tim. Nice. And like you said, Tim is like a 18 to 50-year-old male. He's technical. Is he blue collar? Is he like traditional investment style, white collar type of person?
I would just say those are two different ones. So you have both, because like the people I see out here, I would call them middle. Well, the U.S. I would say middle class, lower class. So that would be your blue collar. $40,000, $60,000 a year, I guess, annual salary. Then you'd even have some more below that, whatever that would be, the equivalent across the globe, because it's not just in the U.S. But like the people here in Asia, and then the large group like in the Philippines, their equivalent salary is much less than that, but they still fall into that same bucket of working class. So maybe working class is a better descriptor.
Yeah. Okay, so we have one that's working class, and let's go to the second one. We are trying to gather as much as possible and see which one has the most influence on our brand. So, okay, we have the first one, which is Technical Tim, which is a working class male between 18 and 50 years, really technical, around 40 to 60K salary. And who would be the second one? Let's say maybe Tim and Tom. Who would Tom be? Also a male? How is Tom different from technical Tim?
He's probably a little older, so if we wanted to take that back for Tim might be 18 to like 35, 40, and then Tim is older, more seasoned, 40 to 60. Some experience under his belt, more investment savvy, so to speak. Has established some level of financial stability, maybe 401k or something to that effect. Has invested in other areas, maybe buy stocks.
Okay, nice. I get a bit of a picture about Tom as well. And the third one, is there maybe a degen? Maybe someone which is a little bit more risky, maybe a little bit more younger. Let's say Santos.
Yeah, definitely. Well, in that case, I would change the age again. So Tim is probably closer to like 25 to 39, and Santos is the degen then like 16 to 24.
Right.
Granted, of course, there's degens across all areas, but typically when you look at demographics and risk profile, the younger you are, the more risk on you are. The older you are, the less risk off. So I'm just lumping these into categories.
No, of course. We just need to bake them up and see like where they, of course, not every degen will be a 24-year-old male or 16-year-old male. You could be 39 and working on being a working class and still be a degen, right? But we just need to categorize everything for ourselves just to make it clear later on if we go to map out their customer journey and map out how they actually go about their things in their daily lives, just to make things more clear in the later stages. So let's say
Danny
student probably.
Yeah.
Likes let's say get rich quick, probably degen.
Yep.
And there are a couple of more people in the call. Are they maybe able to speak up about these categories, or are there more categories they want to add?
Yeah, I'm thinking about like somebody who's probably like a business owner of some sort, and they probably want to integrate with like the DeFi projects or something like that to better serve their customers.
Mm-hmm. And how old would that business owners be?
What's that?
How old would that business owner be?
Probably somebody in their 30s, 20. At least technical or something, like aware of like the like the atmosphere of like the blockchain stuff like that. So yeah, I'm assuming in their 30s.
Would you say that that's someone actually between like the technical Tim and like Tom?
Yeah, probably so.
Okay, so we have. Are there more? Are there more people that would like to speak up? No? Okay, so we go to the influence. So rated 1 to 10, how much influence would this or avatars actually have on our business? let's start with Tim. From 1 to 10, how much would they likely have impact if they enter our community and go along with what we have to give them?
So I need to clarify, is that short term or long term? And define the term when you say short or long. Because for me, this is changing.
I'm talking about if you look at the vision, it's a 10 to 15 year. We could be both actually. So if you look at the vision, it could be 10 to 15 year thing. But if you look at the mission, it needs to be every day. So let's do for both. Let's say short, within 5 years. Long. After 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
So from 1 to 10.
Right. I'm trying to place where I would put each category, actually, each avatar on that spectrum. So the Tim is kind of right in the middle, and in 5 years, short term, I'd say they have like an average, a little bit slightly above average, so like 6 to 7 impact. Yeah, and then long term, they become, what is that, 35 to 54. So they would, in theory, have more money to invest there. So I would say it would go up at that stage. If blockchain's not going anywhere. So I would think all of them actually would have more impact the longer this goes on.
So would you say like a 7.5, an 8, a 9 maybe for Tim?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, because it all depends on what we're trying to build and what that long-term vision looks like, right? So it's putting the cart before the horse. But if you have a degen kind of product initially, then that's going to actually cater to a different avatar right now. But as that avatar matures and you mature, then their capital goes with you. But at the same time, older avatars scale out, if you don't mature your project to fit them. So I don't know. This one's very interesting to think about.
Yeah, for sure. Because what we established last session was that we actually would like to build something that is giving value back, and maybe that doesn't align much with the degen on the longer term, but maybe it does on the shorter term. It really depends how we interpret everything that we actually talked about yesterday. But if you go with the values about security, safety, and protection of your capital, how much would that affect the influence of all those avatars?
Yeah, if that's the mission vision we kind of came over before. So I would go with a 7-8 for Tim then, and it'd be slightly higher for Tom, because safety, security, sustainability, all that becomes even more important the older you are.
So let's say 7 and 8.
Yeah. May not align at all with good old Santos, to be honest. If you're looking at safety, security, they're looking to just gamble and get into something quick. So 5-year time horizon for a degen doesn't even exist. It's like 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 weeks. Maybe that's the longest.
So Santos like a 2 or 3, maybe?
Yeah, probably.
Maybe when he gets older, maybe more of a 6 or something.
No.
I think it would go down, to be honest. The longer it goes down, it'd be worse. Because if you try to convince a 16-year-old, like right now, like, hey, I'm going to make you a millionaire in 10, 15 years. He's like, I ain't got time for that shit, right? So if that's what your product offer is, then he's probably looking somewhere else. He's like, well, why can't I just buy this meme coin to be a millionaire tomorrow?
Yeah. It really depends on the offer also. So if we actually say to them that we are trying to make them a millionaire, instead of we are adding value through maybe education or some sort of value that we are actually adding that maybe can make them a millionaire. Maybe it's about the wording, and maybe it's about how we position ourselves in the market. So that has also to be considered. But all right, let's do 3 and 2. And what about the business owners?
Yeah, I think they would actually probably have the most value out of all of this, maybe.
Yeah, I'm thinking about like somebody. It's going to be like a really big decision, right? They wanted something like long term, probably. So
right.
So let's say 7.5, and the older they get, the more value they see in the platform.
Sure. Yeah.
So what we're actually seeing right now is, okay, so we established something yesterday, which was our why, and we are actually seeing which of those personas are aligned or most aligned with what we are trying to build and why we are trying to do it. So we probably short term shouldn't be looking for Santos and having the terms to address a Santos. We probably should go to a Victor and look at what Victor does on his daily basis and how we can plug into Victor's life to make his life better in the long term. And Victor is probably more aligned with what we want to do as opposed to a Santos. So what we can see is that we actually have, let's say, 2 or 3 avatars that actually are aligning. One which is probably totally aligned, which is Victor, and 2 which Tom is also pretty aligned, and Tim, the older he gets, the more aligned he gets. So what we're going to do next is actually make a sort of deep dive into what drives Victor. So let's just go with this. Okay, Victor's a male, business owner, in his 30s. Where is Victor from? So could be the USA, could be Europe, could be Asia, Africa perhaps. Where do we find a Victor?
Oh yeah, globally, they're everywhere. So
everywhere, there are Victors everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in that demographic.
Okay, let's maybe niche it down. So which social media platform is Victor going to frequently most of the time?
Twitter.
Is it like LinkedIn? Is it like Twitter? Is it like Twitter?
Yeah, I would say Twitter is the lifeblood of crypto right now.
Definitely.
We find out. And do they rent or own properties? Do they have like a formal education?
Yeah, I would definitely say at least, probably if they're 30s, so that goes back to 1990s. So yeah, they probably would have went through college. I think nowadays the other one would have maybe not finished college, but they're probably at least through they did the first 4 years and then kind of an entrepreneurial side or a side hustle or something like that.
Makes sense. What do they do for a living? They're business owners. And what professional responsibilities do they have aside from having a business?
Professional responsibilities, is that what you said?
Yeah, professional responsibilities.
Could be like a manager in their normal career field, and your business is a side hustle. So managerial, supervisory roles, leadership. And if they own a business, then they're either like a startup at that age or, probably startup or like a partnership or something like that, kind of doing it all, CEO. even entrepreneur from like I'm not gonna say content creator, but like all of the recent jobs that have come about for freelance. So even those are considered business owners where you're selling your own skills.
For sure. Let's see. What is their annual personal income? Roundabout.
This would be this is global, right? So what currency are we evaluating that in?
Let's say dollars.
Also depends on the state of their startup business. It could be early days where they're not taking any money.
Sorry, what did you say?
Could also be, you don't have to consider the current state of their business. If it's early days of startup, they may not be taking any money yet. There's a wide range. It could be making a lot or making a little as it gets up the ground.
So fluctuation.
Yes.
Maybe they are trying to find stability within our platform.
Yeah, definitely.
Are they married or are they single? Do they have children? Do they not have children?
This is Chris. I would say that they are married and they have children. And
children
along the lines of when I was in my 30s. This turned out to be more like what I was at.
Yeah, well, it makes sense as well because like maybe there's a more urge to be to find stability when you have children and when you are married, and when you do not have that, maybe it can be more of a degen, so to say. So it makes sense that Victor could have children. So how many children does Victor have?
I would say at least 2, and I would say that degen pretty much looking for something at in the 30s. I think that everybody is looking for long-term growth type things. Like you're talking about, like that's when I started with trusts and things like that for my children, for my family, those types of things.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Makes a lot of sense. And what language do they speak? Probably English. Are they bilingual, or is there one language that Victor speaks?
If you look at global, then they would definitely be bilingual. Like 50% of the crypto is US, but the rest of the globe is definitely bilingual. So I'd say you'd be hitting, and if you look at Twitter as well, and the information being shared for most projects is going to come in English. So even if that's not their native language, they're able to dissect the information. So you definitely got to be bilingual at a minimum.
Well, thank you. So we mapped the demographics inside a bit of this customers, and now we're going to the personality. So what character traits or attitudes are dominant in their personality? So, well, what are they most passionate about in their professional career or their entrepreneurship?
I think
this
one's a tough one because it, like me in my 30s, everybody was my friend. But nowadays, I couldn't tell you what personalities are people in their 30s. Honestly, I don't even know for sure if I know people in their 30s. I mean, especially in the online world, you just don't. I don't think we ever talk about age or anything like that.
Well, it makes sense.
I would think that if personality-wise, if you're in your 30s, you're not so uptight. You're not so stuck in your ways. You're more open to new ideas, different people, different cultures, things like that.
All right. What reputation do they have? Maybe.
probably very limited. I would think at 30, I guess it really depends, because business-wise, young 30-year-olds seem to be just starting to get their reputation when it comes to business. I don't know. Reputation-wise, I wouldn't know for sure, because I didn't spend a whole lot of time outside of family and business at that age. So, other than game, I was a gamer, so had on.
So when you were like at your 30s, do you know a bit about how you were perceived outside of like your household? Or maybe how you wanted to be perceived. Maybe that's a better question.
Yeah, I think that like military and stuff like that, there's a lot of people out there that they are learning at an early age that basically your word is your bond type thing. So I think that there is an enormous amount of people at a young age in their 30s in this time frame that you would want to, stand by principles. You're starting to establish principles that you learned, the previous decade.
Okay, and how do their family and friends describe them, or a victor in this sense?
I think in your 30s, you're the hardest work. That's the hardest working group of people on the planet. People in their 30s are very hard work.
Maybe building a legacy, would that be something?
Yeah, definitely. Or trying to, or looking for how to do that kind of thing.
All right, and how do their friends describe them?
That's a tough one, because their friends could be degens. So, you never know.
So would their friends describe them as a safe type of guy, or if they are degens and he's not?
Yeah, I would say dependable probably comes in there. In that age, you're trying to be more dependable and trustworthy. Again, like especially you have a family and things of that nature. So back to what Chris was saying, your word is your bond. So you're trying to establish these values that people can see you as. So dependable, trustworthy, reliable. You may not be all of that, but you're trying to at least be perceived that way. You're working that way,
yeah, makes sense.
Especially if you're talking about a victor type, right? Which we're saying is a CEO or a business owner, which stands out from other 30-year-olds. So, curious, adaptive, things like that.
Eager to learn, probably. So he's open to new, like you said, not uptight, open to new ideas and people and culture. So makes sense.
Can be a risk taker, but can't be decisive.
Yeah, headstrong, maybe even a little bit arrogant, I guess you could say, because I see like CEO, I get that, but this is now the different CEOs. Remember, they're 30 now in 2023, so they grew up in the 90s, and then the CEO would be someone that's like a freelance or built their own, drop shipping business or whatever. They're technically, or an ad copy, whatever. It's like all these are CEOs of their own businesses, but they're not the seasoned CEOs that we're used to seeing from the 50s and 60s.
Makes sense. Thank you. And what do they really dislike? What obligation do they dislike?
What would you call that? The establishment. So it's
rules.
Rules, regulations, kind of like go by the book. So they question authority or things that are just set in place without any logic, so to speak. It's just one of those, the way it is. So they push against that. That was me in my 30s in the military.
Yeah, fight the status quo.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. A bit of the rebel. Actually, I'd say a lot of the rebel. I'd say a lot of the rebel, because if you're willing to strike out and not be a cog in the wheel, and you're doing your own thing, then you already decided that the traditional system's not for you.
Yep.
Yeah, well, in your 20s, you figure out that the governments are just taking your money out of your salary, and then you think that's bad, and you learn to accept it. But then when you get in your 30s and you start a business, you realize that they're taking everybody's money. So
yeah, that's when you're like trying to go against the authority, so to say. What are their core values? Their core ethical values? Do they have values? They probably have some values.
Well, I would think that along the lines of, we're talking about a business owner, CEO in their 30s. I would say that their values are more geared towards, being successful in their business, being open to ideas, to being.
Nope, autistic is carried by the father's genes.
Oh.
Successful. What else?
So, for the family,
Besides successful, what are they probably standing on, and what do they want to do?
so we got social issues.
I don't know if Arnis is talking, or if that she just came unmuted.
Yeah.
And you got Marfan syndrome.
Yeah, I'm not autistic.
Oh, Asperger.
I just don't like people. I don't trust people. That has nothing to do with it. I know when.
Oh, it's the Black Asian.
Yeah. I muted him. It's all right.
Yeah, so I think we go back to
The values.
what we had before, like the trust as well. So trustworthy, dependable, successful. So I like what I think it was Chris was saying. They're trying to validate themselves through a business. So seeking to elevate their status via their business accomplishments or their acumen, basically. So they might be willing to, trust and dependable, but also might be willing to cut corners to get there. So a bit again of that cocky, that arrogance, focused on a metric of success that's not exactly soft skill, but more about the dollar or external reflection of status symbols, basically.
I'd say respect as well, mostly because at that age you're trying to earn it in the business world.
Respect.
Oh, I do want to add one category after we're done. I thought of a group.
Yeah, all right. There's no problem. We will. All right. Let's go. Well, which one would you like to add?
Hold on. So the people that I surround myself with that I know, it's a very small percentage, but it's people that are well established, that have money just to blow, and they're looking to get into crypto to make a quick buck. And they don't really care if it succeeds or not. They just have money to blow. It's a small category, but I personally know people that are like that. But I didn't know if you guys wanted to add that.
Would those be degens, but like with a lot of money?
It's degens, but the ones I know they're older, so they don't fall into the 18 to 24, whatever we put. They're actually people with money. They're millionaires, six figures, upper six figures type people, not like 18-year-olds that make $60,000 a year, think they're rich. They're going to throw 40,000 of it into crypto because they want to take a chance. No, not people like that, but people that have big money that can spend huge amount of money to get into projects to see if they can make money fast and quick.
All right. How would you call them? Like,
I guess older degens. I don't know. I have no idea.
All right. Okay. And how much impact would they have on this long-term business that they're trying to build?
Hold on a second. I'm at the store. Hold on.
Yep.
Yeah. What was the question? Sorry, Kanji.
So how much impact would this older guy, let's call him Stefan, this older guy would have in this DAO or in this community that we're trying to?
So from what I've seen, people with money hang out with people with money. In my opinion, they could have a huge impact on the community or whatever, just because they have money and they could affect certain things. So I think they can have a big big influence, especially if it makes them money, because they'll tell their friends. And these are people that throw in millions of dollars in, and that to me is a huge thing. But
all right,
it just really depends if it's successful.
All right, let's say short term, within 5 years, from 1 to 10, how much impact would they have?
I think they could have a huge impact if it's something that they see that it's good, just because they have bigger connections.
Is used like an 8, a 9, 9.5, a 7?
I would say like a 9, but that's just 8 or 9, yeah.
And long term, after 10 to 15 years?
That I don't know. They should have a huge impact, but it just depends, I guess, on the product. So I'm not sure about the long term.
Is there someone would like to pitch in and help a little bit out?
Yeah, this almost sounds like
Yeah, go ahead.
This almost sounds like an angel investor type situation. So they have a much bigger impact short term than long term.
Yeah.
So it would be a 7 or 8?
Yeah, like a 6 or 7.
6 or 7. So
but go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I think that their goal is to move on to the bigger and better investments. Always, they might hang out for a while, but I wouldn't expect them to be. They're not satisfied with just sitting still, as opposed to like Tom. Tom is more along the lines of, I'm okay as long as I'm making a return and building towards a future. And I think Stefan is more of, they're going to be looking for other things as they go. Not that they would be in and out, but they'd be moving on after a short period of time. Maybe stay in projects and different things, but bottom line is they're looking for the next big thing.
I like this new avatar category. I would just change the years. So I would, especially when you put it as that angel investor type. So I would put them at like 1 year and 3 year, because crypto doesn't follow the traditional market cycles of like what angel investors would be looking to do, especially when you're talking about an angel investor in like a DeFi project. Now, if it's an angel investor in investing in a blockchain itself, then that's probably different. But something like us, you can leave the other ones the same, but I would just say just for this one, it would be 1 to 3. It would be their short term would be 1 year, and their long term would be 3 to 5 for the millionaire. So that means up front, the short term, less than like from 1 year to 3 year, they'd have a huge impact, like a 10. But then after 3 years, they're gone. Like typically their money's already taken out and they've moved on to somewhere else. So they may not even be in the project at all. So I give them like a 5 or even lower, to be honest. Because again, they're just looking to make a quick flip and then go into the next thing.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so let's continue with Victor. But thank you, Black Agent, for this input. And we'll see where they categorize and where we can put them in our ecosystem. Okay, so let's go for the goals and desires. So, Victor, once again, what does Victor want to achieve and what drives them? I mean, we've already talked about success, so let's start with that. Success and maybe build an empire or something. What is their primary goal in life, like their personal goal?
Yeah, if they got kids, then it's definitely back to that leave a legacy. So it's going to be the impact they have on the family, as well as their community or tribe, the people around them. So you're trying to elevate your status within that group of people, your peers. So
Mm-hmm.
all that's part of the legacy and the empire. It's kind of like bragging rights. If your kids are smarter and better than other people's kids, all that kind of stuff goes together.
Yeah. And what secondary or someday goal do they have aside for like building an empire, leaving a legacy? Is there a second thing that they actually would like to do next to business?
Yeah, I guess that would go back to the family. So if you put the mission first, that'd be like the business, and then the second would be the family, the kids, the wife.
And how will
in your 30s? I mean, I'm just going by me and some of my peers and everything. In my 30s, it was building locally, establishing, friends, families, local community type thing. My 40s was global. In 50s, probably right there.
Thank you for your input. What do they want to achieve in the future? We already have the legacy, success, sustainable family, so I think we have enough of those. Core desires is more success probably. And how would they feel if they had immediate success? Is it like fulfillment or something else?
Well, I think they have fulfillment, but I think in your 30s, I think a lot of people, I can't speak for everybody, but I think that you're building so that you'll never have to work another day in your life, and you'll be able to take care of your family also. And you realize in your 40s that that's not going to happen. Even if you've done it, you're still going to work and you're still going to keep going. So in your 30s, you're full of, I want to take care of my family, friends for the rest of their lives and be successful and all that.
Thank you. Okay, so let's go to the challenges and their fears. So what is standing in their way of their goals?
In your 30s, I think it's knowledge. I think you don't know what you don't know, and that's your biggest fear and problem, because you have a great idea or your business is going well and you don't see, things in the future because you're not, you don't have enough experience. It's knowledge and experience.
Yeah, I think that's a good catch-all because that kind of also encompasses like resources and also like fear of failure. So those kind of tie together because once you have the knowledge, you no longer fear the failure because you think of that as part of the journey. But before you have that, you're kind of holding yourself back.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Do they have external pressure, and from who?
Oh yeah, societal expectations of especially you're talking about masculinity. So you have an image you're supposed to portray, what you're supposed to be able to uphold for your family and provide for. So you're trying to fulfill that obligation. Then of course, whatever within your family, whatever they expect, you're probably still, depending on your upbringing, you may still be in the shadows of your father, or maybe even a grandparent or something like that, that you're trying to get out from under, or maybe a brother.
Yes, makes sense. Does someone wants to pitch in, and does someone has extra points?
The only thing I see on there that competition. I think that
Competition.
I think you have competition in your industry that either you know about or you don't know about, and are entering the market, and those types of challenges will come up all the time, I think.
Right, competition. Yes, thanks. And what impact do these struggles, like the upbringing and maybe the competition, the fear, or the lack of knowledge, what what does that impact, and how does that impact their lives?
Anxiety, and then like fear of actually executing on this dream or realizing what it can be. So could be stifling, holding you back. Yeah.
So they don't do anything because of fear they have, and they like stop in their tracks because of it.
Yeah, or they just don't make the necessary actions or grow the business like they should, or they stop sooner than they should. Yeah, it's back to the knowledge. You don't know what you don't know. So there's a lack of belief in their own abilities. So they don't execute. And if they do, they make a mistake and they don't keep going, so to speak. So they lack perseverance.
And how will failure make them feel?
Yeah, that very devastating. So I think this is the time frame in the age here that you have a lot of failed businesses. You have a lot of ideas that seem like they're really good, competition, things like that. Doesn't work out the way I think being able to. I think people in their 30s learn that they're great ideas. If they don't execute them right, they become failures. They learn from those failures and they move on. But I think that challenges and fears are a failure with your business, with everything, and then you also start turning into, you have employees, you have the employees' children, their spouses, things like that. You start worrying about being able to make payrolls, things like that. So, I think there's a lot of fears.
So afraid of crumbling under different obligations. And what are their core fears? What do they fear the most?
I think it'd be back to that fear of failure. Because with failure is all the other expectations that tie into that. So your self-worth as a man in your 30s is directly tied to your accomplishments. So if you aren't what you said you were going to be, your business isn't successful, or you're not bringing food home for the family or whatever, then yeah, everything else crumbles underneath that. So failing in business, the ability to provide as a man pretty much is your entire identity, your entire purpose. If you can't do that, then you kind of feel like you suck at life.
So not accomplish what they say that they would do. Okay, thank you. We have quite a lot to work with. Let's just go back to demographics, because I noticed that I actually missed the psychographics part. So what sports does Victor like? Does he enjoy sports? Does he play it? Does he watch it?
I think he watches and participates in any kind of sports for networking, honestly. I think your close friendships and stuff like that take a backseat to what you're trying to build.
What do they do for recreation?
Well, I think a lot of them still have their core friendships, that concerts, maybe different sporting events, hanging out with friends, poker nights, things like that.
Is there any type of music that Victor listens to?
Well, my generation, we had all kinds of music at that time, so we have everything, that we've listened to.
Oh yeah, I'd say it's even more so now. The internet and music is getting even more widely available. So yeah, I would say it's definitely very eclectic. Because you're talking about a global Victor, so
yeah,
you don't even know where the hell this person is at.
So, what kind of books does Victor read? Maybe business books? Maybe
Probably self-help would probably.
Self-help?
Well, self-help would probably. I would think that
self-development, self-help, leadership, business. But I don't even know if reading books. So it depends on the context. When you say reading books, like I haven't read a book probably since high school, but I've listened to hundreds on Audible and listened to podcasts. So physical book reading, I think, is definitely like a lost art.
Self-help, leadership,
self-development. I like self-development better than self-help. Self-help sounds kind of like whatever that word is, like a counselor kind of thing.
So what else? Audiobooks and podcasts of leadership, self-development. What else?
Entrepreneurship, business.
What car do they drive? Do they have a car? Do they go with the public transportation?
Oh yeah, probably both. Depends on where you're living in this globe.
Okay, as Victor, let's say hypothetical Victor.
I would say that Victor's probably driving a pretty nice car. Family's driving a nice car too. Probably spends a lot of time because the car is something that immediately shows status. And if that's what you're building a network and you're building a company and all that, that's probably drive a nice vehicle.
All right. How do they dress for work or at work? Is it like formal, maybe casual?
I would say pretty formal. I would think that in your 30s that you're like when your car, your looks, hair, clothes that you wear, the way you present yourself is basically built for networking.
Everything looks good. And this. And what do they dress in the weekends? So will it still be formal or is it more casual? What kind of casual?
It's probably business casual. Probably a lot of kids' sports events looking, nice shirt, stuff like that.
Where do they shop? For their food, for their clothing, everything.
I don't know if they have like a spouse or something like that. They're probably the ones dressing them. So,
right. Does someone want to pitch in? No shop. All right. Okay. So, what do they do with most of their free time?
I would say it's spent with the family. So spending time with the family or on the business. So if they're building the business, they probably spend as much time as they can on that. And then when the wife pulls them away or family obligations, then it's whatever kids events or free time with the wife, and family friends events. So I'm guessing there's probably some, other friends that they have, kids friends from school. So whatever those the events are, they have to go to. Kind of stereotypical stuff.
All right, thank you. And how often do they go on holidays? Once a year, maybe twice, maybe more, maybe not. No holidays.
I'd say twice if you're in this age and you're doing pretty well and you have kids. Yeah.
Where do they go to typically?
It depends on where they're at in the globe, but like overseas, it'd be any probably neighboring country like in Europe. You can jump over to another country pretty easy. Asia too, so relatively cheap, convenient. So, like, I guess typical relaxation destination spots in your home country, as well as maybe sightseeing stuff for kids. So whatever the equivalent would be for influence for the kids, you know, museums or zoos or something like that.
How do they travel? Is it by car? Is it maybe by plane? Is it by helicopter? There you go. Probably it would be like plane. Some do with buses, but how do y'all think about it?
Yeah, definitely go with plane.
Plane, right? Yeah. What type of hotels do they like to stay in? Is it like a luxury hotel, maybe a more affordable hotel?
It's probably like middle class hotel. Like you're not quite there for luxury, but you definitely don't want to be like budget, you know, low class with your kids. You want to feel safe.
All right, I think we filled in the most for Victor, and we actually have a little bit of grasp on how he actually is and what he does, how he moves, what drives him, what his desires and goals are, and what actually makes him tick a little. So we could do, let's see, let's go to the next slide first, and map out the customer journey. So, what are the ways they might become aware that they have a problem? So, we describe the problems. Maybe that's the lack of success and the lack of knowledge to succeed in their financial endeavors or in their business lives. When they do become aware, and how do they become aware when they have that problem?
What do you mean by when? Because I mean, they're in business from the jump, so they've been aware of it for quite some time. And if you're talking about the awareness regarding like crypto, then yeah, I still say that happens before they get to us.
So what I actually mean by when is, so we are addressing a problem with the DAO, right? So we are probably giving them, or we're trying to give the people that align with us a solution. And we already talked about giving them values, long-term share of knowledge, and we mapped Victor to that, and Victor would be like one of the perfect candidates to do that. When would Victor notice that he actually needs to enter the community, enter the DAO? When will his like head click, and when will it make sense for him to maybe explore crypto, but explore us as a community?
So that's going to be after he's gotten probably his first getting wrecked protocol. So he's got to get his feet wet in crypto first before he realizes that it's the wild, wild west and the shit doesn't work. So we won't be the first stop. You're more like the second or third.
All right. Let's see. So yeah, they become aware when they get wrecked. Does someone tell them about this protocol, or maybe this DAO or this community, or is there something that they actually find on the internet themselves after reading a blog or maybe a YouTube? So is it more of a word of mouth thing that he actually discovers us, or not?
Yeah, I think it's more word of mouth. So, I mean, if I look at all of us that are in here now, mapping this journey, that's exactly the same path we went down. We got introduced into crypto and DeFi by whatever was popular and whatever meme token or whoever told you about it. Then you navigated and tried a few things, and then now you're here. going, there's got to be a better way. So for Victor, and for right now, the foreseeable future of DeFi, that's going to be the exact same path for practically everybody. There is no solution outside of that yet.
All right. Is there someone which would like to add something to it? To what Coach said? Okay, let's go to the next one. What's this problem that they got dragged? Expected or a surprise? Is there something that they maybe probably knew? Like, okay, I will probably get dragged, and that's why I need to find something new? Or is it like, whoa, I got dragged, I'm not sure what to do, and that's how they find it?
Yeah, definitely the latter. So I think everybody comes in, I can at least speak from my journey, come in with rose-colored glasses because all you hear is the positive. So, and you see the charts, you see all the people making money, you see the Twitter posts, and you see the YouTube videos. So I didn't know anything about the ugly side of crypto. It just all looked positive until I dove in head first. So.
So is it something that they actually notice internally, like damn, I'm going to get wrecked, or is it like after they're getting wrecked?
I would say it's definitely after. It's definitely after. So you get in and you click some buttons, and then you see your portfolio, or you gave up your seed phrase, or something unexpected happened. So the external is you see nothing but positive, and everybody's making money in a bull market. So it just seems it's too good to be true, super easy. Buy this, click this, you're done. And then that is not what you get. So it's definitely a surprise. Or the best case scenario is nothing happens. So you buy, you get in, and your token doesn't do anything. So I guess that's at least not so negative, but it's still not what you expected. You're expecting to make money, get rich.
Okay, and how do they actually learn this? Is that by chance, or was it like a process they went through and they actually discovered that like this isn't for them, or the protocol or crypto isn't like for them, and they need to find something new?
How will they find out about us? The solution, or what was that again?
The solution, yeah. So would it be like by trial and error, just looking at different protocols, having a process, and then finding us, or is it like a chance, lucky that they found us in some sort of way?
Probably initially it's going to be lucky word of mouth, and then hopefully it will be a process that we can create to onboard and share. But initially the entire space is driven by hype. There is no process. So we would have to follow the same path that's laid out right now. There's no other way to get your protocol visibility without going through the same channels of hopium and hype via Twitter, Reddit, YouTube.
Okay, thanks a lot. So let's go to the next one. How will they find out about the different solutions that we have? So social media, probably, maybe. So social media. And we already said Twitter, so.
Yep. Twitter to YouTube to Telegram and Discord. Those are your ways of disseminating information once you get someone in your community. Again, there's no other options currently until somebody creates something that's more unified.
And what do they search for when they're trying to find us?
Hopefully it's a name of a project or something that's gained some traction. So kind of the way we found projects as well, right? So search by name. They're not searching for traits. They're searching for the actual product name. That's what drives the hype. You look for Shiba Inu. You look for, you look for drip. You look for it by name. You didn't actually go to Google and type in get rich quick crypto overnight 1% ROI DApp.
Definitely. The next one is actually, how easy is it to find a solution? Probably hard, I would say. But how do y'all think? Is it easy to find a solution to this getting wrecked and us providing something for them, or is it like not so easy and they actually need to go deep into the crypto fields to actually find us?
I think it's actually easy. It's just that so far no one's been willing to make it sustainable in such a way that you can digest it and do it. Like it's pretty easy in crypto. Once you're in, buy token, hold token, token go up, sell token. Like the process is simple. So we can easily build something like that, especially if it has sustainability and all this stuff built into it in the vision that we put out. Then the process for that can be very easy. Click a button, do nothing else. Buy this NFT button, whatever.
Mm-hmm. And how easy is it to understand our solution or the solution that we actually want to create?
Oh, we definitely want to make it as easy as possible. So it needs to be as easy as what they're familiar with regarding their current smartphone and opening up any other app or doing something. Like it has to be so transparent and simple that you can onboard people easier even before they get into crypto. So trying to bridge that gap, it needs to be super simple and more of a set it and forget it kind of mentality, because the space hasn't evolved yet to where people want to be active every day within it. So they need to be like, oh yeah, I bought this thing 6 months ago. I forgot about it. Let me check on it.
Right. And the last one for this is how did they find our solution? And there's probably once again the social media, Twitter's word of mouth.
Right.
And everything related to that. So now let's talk about the alternatives. So what other solutions or services providers might they consider besides of us? I have one, which is the mining club. Or was it the whales? Hydro whales, was it? Yeah, it was hydro whales. What other protocols do probably resemble what we want to build or are totally different but are alternatives for what we want to put in the market?
Yeah, I don't know a lot about them, but I know there are other DAOs out there that have structures in which you kind of, buy, participate, and get some sort of dividend or reflection, but I have no idea how they actually operate, like the tokenomics or anything like that. So I would just say like any other DAO. I think because by name, there's a lot of DAOs, but by actual decentralized autonomous organization, there's probably few and far between. But in and of itself, people are going to look for that and just assume all DAOs are the same. So because of that, you have to compete against that description that people have.
Yeah, is there someone which actually would like to add to something? So there's Hydro Whales Mining Club, other DAOs. Is there something else? Or some other entity? So what do they learn about these alternatives? Maybe it's long term. So what do they learn about these other DAOs? What attracts them to go to that DAO?
Yeah, long term, maybe ease of use or something, how to get in.
Something else? So what is their major alternative consideration? So next to that it's a long term or ease of use, is there something other major that could influence them? Maybe value adding?
Yeah, about to say value and like dividends, so like what they get out of it, Is it just access to resources like people and a community, or they're actually getting better payouts and dividends?
All right. And why is this option compelling for them?
It goes back to their core values of what they're trying to create. So success and sustainability and provide for their families. So whichever entity provides these things easier and more efficiently and a better value, then they would be more attracted to.
Is there someone would like to pitch in and add some words or some alternatives to this? Or maybe solutions or problems that they are aware of? No? Okay. All right. Let's go to the next one.
Coach is pretty much answering, and I agree with what he's saying, so I'm staying pretty quiet.
All right.
Don't let me dominate the conversation. I already talked enough on YouTube.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it is important to, like, every idea that you have, just pitch it in, just say it, and we can write it down, we can refine it. Because the more answers we have, the better we can actually target those answers. And maybe you have a different choice of words that I can write down. And maybe that is the right choice of word to target some audience. So don't be shy. Pitch in whichever idea you have. Nothing is silly. Let's just try to build this together, make it a collaborative effort. So we can all win together, and we all feel part of this brand as well. Because if someone is pitching it in every time, maybe it feels more like a brand, the brand of Coach instead of the brand of us all. So just try to, even if it's sometimes just one word, just try to pitch something in, just so you feel part of the collaboration and the collaborative effort. All right, so let's go with the second part of it, which is objections. Why would they decide not to buy or to buy into our DAO? So is there any reason why they actually would say, nah, I'm not, it's not for me, this DAO is not for me. I maybe go the degen route, or I maybe go another route, or I maybe go to another DAO. Why would they do that? Would they is it maybe the price, the knowledge that we're sharing? What would that be?
Yeah, price, complexity, dividends, payouts, even the community itself. So how it's positioned to them, like if it doesn't have the language that they resonate with.
And what would be their major concerns within the community, or maybe the dividends payouts?
Dividends too low, not enough, not sustainable. The security aspect.
Is there someone else who would like to pitch in? Maybe a doubt why they wouldn't go to the DAO or enter the community?
I think one thing would be lack of education. I mean, being burned in different areas, and then not taking the time to understand the DAO. And I mean, I think a lot of people do that nowadays. They've been burned, and someone says, "Hey, this is a good project." And they're like, "I don't care what the project is. I'm not investing." So.
Thank you for your input. Let's put this here. Are they doubtful of a successful outcome?
Oh yeah, I would definitely think they would be doubtful. I mean, I think everybody is nowadays. I mean, you don't have
the problem I think with DeFi is that you don't have the traditional investment strategies that you would have with like the stock market or Forex or commodities and stuff. I mean, they sell you up on this is where it's going to be in the future, but the problem with all DeFi is they don't do what they say they're going to do. And if they just did what they say they were going to do, and you have a lack of trust there.
And what experiences make them doubtful? Is that getting wrecked?
Yeah, I think it's a getting wrecked, and I think pretty much like I was saying, these projects say they're going to do something, they don't do those things, and it's like if you read the white paper and you spend your time learning about it, and then come to find out that they're not even planning on doing what they say they're going to do, it just ends up being more of a scam. Or they feel like it's more of a scam, and they don't have the time to do all that research anymore.
Do they believe that they can get a better result elsewhere, perhaps?
Yeah, I think that they do, but then we run into the problem. There's so many different projects out there, and they spent so much time researching all these projects, only to find out that all of it was just hopes and dreams.
So elsewhere could be like a crypto project, but it could also be like traditional financial institutions.
Right. Well, I think you have some key indicators for traditional financing and projects and things out there, companies and stock market, stuff like that. But the problem is that DeFi tries to act like that, but they I wouldn't say they don't all, but a lot of them, they don't even for 1 second think that they're going to accomplish any of those things. They're just selling the product.
Thank you. Well, we got a couple of things to think about. So let's go to the buying decision. What are the deciding factors that will entice them to go into our community or to buy something from us? So what are their primary buying considerations?
Go back to the simplicity and the transparency, probably the community, so the hype around it as well. So that usually drives the most initial speculation of people like, I'll throw a couple bucks at it. So you just have enough people hyping it up that it drives enough people to test it out. And then once you get over that momentum, you get more and more that validate that, okay, I tested it out and it did do what it said it was going to do. So then it just continues.
All right. Any more? All right. And what would be the secondary buying considerations? Would that maybe be education or maybe something else?
I would say how much they're going to make. The people that I deal with is sometimes they just want the bottom line. How much is this going to make me? On top of what Coach said, if it's easy or not, simple. People don't like going into something that's overly complicated where they can't make enough money or make a lot of money. So I think money, how much they would make, or the potential of how much they could make is a big thing.
Yeah. If I had to be honest, I know we talked about the education stuff, but this is what I see. Like, I can relay this to the actual health and fitness industry. People don't care how the muscles work, how they're supposed to work out, how the food works and digestion and nutrition and macros. They just want the answer. So even though we want to educate people and we say DYOR, they're not going to do it. And I know that as a content creator, and many of us in here probably didn't do enough research on stuff either. And all we did was literally follow a bunch of loud voices in the space. And that's not going to change ever. No matter how much education is out there, people will always default to the collective doing the education for them, right? So we can put it out there, we can share it, we can try to educate, we can beat that drum and say that that's one of our high horse values. But being realistic, it doesn't matter.
Right. Okay. Thanks for the input. And what would push them over the edge to actually buy our stuff? Is that the community hype first and foremost, or is there something else that actually pushed them to the edge to put a couple of bucks in or go into the journey of this style? Is it like maybe the content quality that you're creating, or is it something else? Is it the documentation we're putting out in the world? What would push them to the edge to actually go along for the ride?
I think there has to be some type of a hook, very very short in whatever content or however they start any kind of research. Because if you haven't gotten them in the first couple of minutes to even start considering something, something to invest in, it's not going to happen. Because the more they get into it, the more they're going to get distracted, the more they're not going to be a part of it. But I think that it'd have to be some type of a hook soon.
Yeah, but is that hook related to like their financial independence? Is that like the financial freedom? Is it like the bottom line, like we talked about? So, or is the hook something to do with the community, the hype, or has the hook something to do with the simplicity?
I think it's got to be. I think it's got to be financial, because of the fact that you can go get a community, you can join a community anywhere. But if you're in crypto, I mean, pretty much, like Coach was saying, I mean, health and fitness, you got communities out there, great people, all these different areas. You got military veterans, you got a community there. I mean, the only reason why people are building communities in DeFi or in crypto is because of the financial independence in the future. They have a common goal there. The rest of it, buds here and there, but bottom line is the financial independence is what brings these people together. And that's where it has. I think that's where the biggest focus needs to be, because of the fact that, I mean, honestly, we could be all best buddies and everything like that. It'd be like, okay, you got best buddies everywhere. You can go game online and have more friends.
Yeah, it makes sense. Financial independence is something that we could push on and definitely use in our communication. So that's great. Is there someone which would like to add to this that we discussed? So the financial independence, and people actually would like to know the answer, and instead of learning the answer or about the answer.
Yeah, I would just co-sign the financial side. It's the energy in the space. It's not about the tech. It's not about the education. It's not about the decentralization. It's financial energy. You get here for that, and then maybe you find some other things, but we're all here to make money. And that's the only reason this space exists. So you got to just respect that, build around that, and then do the other things you want to do that are innovative.
Okay, so how are we trying to win trust with our customers or people that are trying to engage with our community? How would we make the ball start rolling and gain a little bit of trust with them? What would be maybe our first step or our first touch point?
I think the first step in everything that we would do would have to be to build trust. So it has to be that DAO said that they were going to do this, they did it. That kind of thing. And I'm talking about the little things. Not, we're going to bring to market a product for financial independence and we did it. Okay, well, we just got lucky, because we just threw it out there. But I'm talking about, we're going to have a meeting on this day. We're going to we're going to put out some information. We're going to put out this content. We have to do the small things to build trust, because that's the biggest problem in DeFi right now. Nobody trusts anybody. And any projects that are out there, I mean, we're all from communities that have run for 6 months to several years, and it was just a slow rug. Well, maybe not a rug, but it was a slow decline through the whole thing, and we all stuck together, and we became better friends and a better community, but they didn't do what they said they were going to do. So the trust factor has to be the smallest little things need to be starting to build trust. That's where I think it needs to be.
Right. That's a great answer. Thank you. And how will we go about building trust? So do you have a couple of examples?
Well, I would say that I mean, to the public, if we're gonna if we're creating something that we're gonna start to the public, I think anything that we would schedule, anything that we would do, if we would announce that we're gonna put out something, it's something small, an information packet on good projects or something like that. We do that, and we make sure it's satisfies the need of the DeFi community and the consumers. Then you start building trust on the fact that, well, I can go over to Drip Coach. I mean, you see like the way that Coach does his videos. I mean, you can rely on going and you can go watch his videos, and you're going to get the straight answer. You're going to get the information that you need, that kind of stuff. So I mean, he's a perfect example. You build trust because of the fact that people can depend on you telling you straight what the issues are and what they aren't. And we just need to marry that over into anything that we would be doing, small little things to big things. We deliver on what we say we're going to do, and people feel like of all the places they can go, social media, DeFi, and everything, they could come here, and we're going to tell them straight what it is.
Thank you for this answer. Does someone would like to pitch in and have some extra words for it?
Yeah, I would just say same thing. So it's be consistent and do what you said you're going to do. So like Chris said, as small as make an announcement or whatever. You say you're going to be there at 6 o'clock, then you start at 6, or 5:55 or whatever, and you consistently do that. Like, just keep that level of integrity of doing those simple things consistently and exactly what you said. I heard somebody earlier today that it's not about exceeding customer expectations, it's about meeting customer expectations. So you actually, whatever you tell them you're going to do, you do exactly that, and then over time that builds trust. It's really not that hard.
Well, I think that's like things that we can take out of the brick and mortar businesses, the real world businesses, that when I go to McDonald's to get a cheeseburger, that's not the best cheeseburger ever, but it's the same cheeseburger. I can depend on the fact that I'm going to get that cheeseburger. And that's how these businesses were made. People can rely on, and it's a trust thing. They can rely on, if I go there, I'm going to get what I expect. Not all the time, and you have problems through the drive-through, because we all know they F you through the drive-through. But, in basic terms, you go back to a business because you know what you're going to get, and you get what you expect.
Facts.
And how did they make the decision to go into the community? So is that after they seen that we actually are consequent with our actions? Or is there some other way that they actually think, oh no, let's go into this community and let's see how this works out?
Well, one thing I wanted to add was just on top of what everyone else is saying, with the whole transparency, we want to be transparent, but also the reputation of the other members. I don't think some people won't join it or be part of it if they find out some guy that was a bad actor or was a project manager of another project, didn't come through with their projects or promises. So I think certain members won't join in because of that, the reputation of another member. And I think that's important too, because, you know, you're not going to join a group that's like, you know, that are a couple devs or whatever that has been rug pulling people or never delivered on their product. So I think that's a big decision, because I know there's going to be some people that never will go into another project because of so-and-so dev. Like, he created something new and, hey, I don't like him. He was crap before. I'm not going to join a group that he's part of anymore. So I think that's important. That's just my opinion, though. I think that's very important.
I agree.
Thank you.
Very cultish. True.
Sure.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Everything he said, yes.
Sure, I wrote it down as well. Thank you. What will compel them to tell others about the experience they had with us?
I think it goes back to what we were just saying. So by the fact that we literally be doing what we said we would do, and that's just completely different to what they've expected, right? So it's a shock and awe factor. That's like, wait a minute, this is not like the rug pulls I got into. This is not like, you know, this other project that I was in. Because remember, they came to us with this initial rose-colored glasses, you know, we all going to make it. Then they get wrecked. So then they believe the entire space is like that. And then all of a sudden they do get this breath of fresh air, so to speak. So that would be the reason they would tell others, because they would be assuming or believing now. They're like, oh, wait a minute, there is hope. The whole thing's not corrupt. This one seems different, you know?
Right. Is it like that bad? Is it like, is there no protocol that we know of that is actually doing great and is like not a rug pull or a slow rod that we know of?
It's to be determined, my friend, to be determined.
No, I just wanted to know, because like, yeah, it sounds concerning, but like, yeah, I'm not sure if I know one myself. I've been wrecked my fair share of times as well. So
right.
Yeah,
they can all look great for a while, but we're looking, remember, a 3, 5, 10-year time frame. So that's a very different model that I can't show you one yet. Bitcoin, I guess, Ethereum, right? If you got in 3 to 5 years ago, there you go.
Yeah, those sound safe indeed. All right. So I wanted to ask, what experience justified their purchase? But I think being consistent is the experience that they actually are trying to find. So everything that we said encapsulates everything about advocacy. So I'm not sure if we should go on. Is there something that we actually could add to why they are buying us or why they are coming into the DAO? Besides being consistent and being a man of our word, so to speak?
Well, let me add one thing. Security. There's people that I know that won't get into a project if they don't believe that the security is up to par. That's a huge thing for a lot of people, I think, because that's one thing I'm afraid of. If I go into a DeFi project, is it secure? Am I going to get rugged? Is the code legit? Has it been audited? Stuff like that. I think that's but the deciding factor someone's going to get into.
Definitely.
Hey guys, I want to jump in here. I gotta jump off. So I appreciate your guys' time, and this is very interesting. I'd like to see. Are you going to make this available to be able to see the end result here?
Well, first we'll do this 3 parts, and after that I take around 1 to 2 weeks to actually present the deck. After the deck is presented with all the information that we gathered during all those sessions, I'll present the book within 2 weeks after that, in which everything is compiled into a brand Bible, so to say.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate your guys' time, and thanks for letting me join.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, Chris. Thanks.
Okay. Let's see, where were we? Advocacy. Okay. I think everything that we discussed, or every question that I have to massage the answers for advocacy, are actually answered through being consistent, because that's something that no one has been apparently. and being true to our word. So if we could just do that, we probably might be different than all of the devs that we are encountering. So that's crazy to think about, actually.
It's definitely a solid start.
Yeah. If there's something else besides of security, the amount of money maybe that they make.
Yeah, I was thinking that that's the case, but at the same time, as long as they trust you. So like if you look at that from a DeFi project, say they're making some money, but then it goes down or whatever the case may be, but you're still building, you're still delivering on your word, then they shift from that expectation of profit for short term, and then they start to buy into the vision of the company, and they become an actual, long-term investor, whatever the case may be. So there's that initial hype and excitement, but then just like the current crypto market, maybe they shift to a 4-year cycle and they're like, okay, yeah, I can be with this a little longer. And we can see that from projects we're familiar with, where the token is down dramatically, but there are people that still believe in a long-term vision of that project. So even though they're not making any money, they haven't gone anywhere either. So I think the value gets there initially, but if they buy into the narrative, then it shifts, so to speak.
All right. Thanks a lot for the input. Okay, so we have a general idea of how Victor operates and how Victor would do things and how he actually moves and would like to have his investment, which is secure. So I actually want to do a second avatar, but I think that most of the avatars fall into this Victor category, and he's the most important. So let's just move on to our competitors and see what they do and how we are different, or we are trying to be different from them. Competitors. So the competitor part, the brand positioning is like the last part, and the differences. And we really need to see how they operate to map out a way how not to operate like them, or to be a little bit different for them, so that we actually position ourselves in a different way that they are presenting themselves.
Real quick, Kanji, I think this might actually be a great place to break, since you're on a new topic, and I think we lost the bulk of people that were on. So right now it's just myself and DeFi Crypto Boss. So that means you won't get much more feedback than just two of us. And I don't know what else DeFi Crypto Boss might have. This is literally the morning, Saturday morning, so there might be other stuff. But hopefully what could happen is I could share this, and then if you pick a different time for the third part, maybe it end up being 4 now, because I know you said there's like 90 slides still, but we've been going for 2 hours now. So I don't know how this would break down, but ideally, like, this was my goal for creating this group, was to get more input. So I could have done this on my own, not to the degree you've done it, but I really appreciate what you've done, because this is a much deeper dive than what I've ever done on my own. But the whole purpose was to have additional feedback. So if we're losing people when they're not there, then I'd rather pause and see if we can get some others to join for another session.
For sure, makes sense. It is, for sure. You're right. It is a workshop to have more collaborative effort. So it makes sense to stop now if there's not much of an engagement, and if we actually can get more people, if they so desire to do it. So let's stop now, and let's see if we can plan other days to maybe end this and finish this whole presentation deck.
Yeah, and maybe since you have admin rights in there now, maybe you can put out a poll and see who's available, and pick a time that, of course, fits with your schedule. But maybe we can plan the next 2 sessions a little more uniformly, with more input that could align, and maybe more people buy in.
All right, let's do that for sure. I have to look at the dates which I am available. It probably will be a Saturday or a Sunday,
that works,
because it doesn't align with the US time as well. So all right, let's do it. And what were your impressions of this session?
For me, it was great. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I've done this before with my own personal brands by myself and with my partner, but this is it's different when you have other people and from a crypto side. So it's looking at it extremely different, like looking at the avatar and the lifetime value basically of that avatar is very different from like my fitness industry, for example. It's like I can sell products and services and have this person, it's like, 10 year, 20 year, 30 year. But in crypto, it's like, okay, what are we trying to solve short term, and how long is this person actually going to stick with us, and what is the industry going to look like, right? Because it's still developing. So there's so many unknowns going through it this time than there's ever been in other business models that I've been in. So it's fascinating.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It was a great call, and there were 5 people as well, right? There were maybe even a little bit more.
Yeah, I think we might have had 6 at one stage. It was Chris, Armios, the Black Asian, yourself, myself, and Dennis was on. Yeah.
Right. So let's see how this turns out, and let's call it a day, and I'll set up some dates to see if everyone aligns with the same time and same day, so we can actually finish it.
Awesome. Yeah, appreciate it.
Well, have a nice day, and there's something coming up, just text me.
Will do.
Alrighty. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, man.
Take
it easy.
Bye.
Want to pay your in real life bills with crypto? How about send crypto directly to anyone with a bank account? SPRITZ Finance is a decentralized solution to be your own bank and connect your crypto earnings to real world bills and payments. They do not take custody of your assets and allow support on multiple blockchains and Web3 wallets. Sign up below using my referral link and you will get $50 back when you make your first $50 bill payment with crypto. Additionally, I will be using referral bonuses to airdrop, donate, or burn based on community feedback. Sign up now.